Hi, I'm Nick Palmisano, and this is the Bad News Network. Let's start with the most concerning story of the week. Legendary guitarist Keith Richards, who came to international acclaim playing with the Rolling Stones, has quit drinking. Drunk Keith Richards leaves behind his spouse, Patty Hansen, as well as 5 beautiful children. He was 74. In bipartisan news, the Senate voted unanimously to condemn the Saudi crown prince in the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. Senate aides everywhere exclaimed, "Wow!" The last time they were unanimous on anything was for their last raise. In other congressional news, Congress passed a bill that no longer allows any member of Congress to use federal money to fight and settle sexual harassment claims. The bill also allows interns the same protections as regular employees, so if the Senate or Congress decides to get super gropey with them, they can also sue. It does not, however, cover discrimination, so good news for Congress, they're still allowed to discriminate to their heart's content. Nevertheless, this is a huge bipartisan win. Just think about it. It only took 7 little months of nonstop negotiation for Congress to come up with the solution that they should no longer be able to charge the taxpayer for their sexual indiscretions. That's real leadership. Thanks, Congress. In Robots Will Eventually Kill Us news, a robot tried to kill us. A rogue robot in a factory in China collapsed upon a factory worker, impaling him with 10-foot-long spikes. Miraculously, the factory worker, named only Zhao to the media, survived and is in stable condition. When asked about the incident, Zhao had this to say: "Please don't worry about me. This is the second worst I've been f***ed over by a giant, uncaring machine that has left me bleeding and on my way to death in a dreary existence with absolutely no happiness. So I guess I really want to thank socialism for preparing me for this moment." In other sweet China news, China is moving forward with their previously announced social credit score rating. The score aims to measure people's support for the Chinese state and government. People who deviate too far from the norm could lose the ability to ride planes or trains. They could lose the ability to send their kids to the best schools, to get the best jobs, and in some cases, even have their dogs taken away. Crazy, right? I mean, can you imagine a world where something that you said on social media years and years ago could actually completely destroy your life now? Thank God we live in America. In Hollywood news, Kevin Hart has stepped down from hosting the Oscars after significant social media pressure. Why the outcry? 6 years ago, Hart said he hoped his son wasn't gay and that if he ever saw him playing with a dollhouse, he would smash it. Now, some people think that because Hart apologized for those comments 5 years ago and then went on to be an advocate for gay rights and also has never had any discrimination of any kind either before or after making those comments, that he should get a pass. Fuck those people. But I, as a perfect person who has never said or done anything on social media or otherwise that I regret, feel strongly that if you haven't lived an absolutely perfect existence, that you deserve no opportunities in life nor any chances for redemption. You should suffer for all time. In fact, if we think back to the Spanish Inquisition, I think we all agree those guys had some good ideas. Speaking of good ideas, California is planning on taxing text messages in order to pay for people that can't afford phones. Not only that though, they are going to try to do this tax retroactively over the last 5 years. So some people should be expecting some pretty hefty bills. Just another reason to live in magical California. But you know what? Maybe California hasn't gone far enough with this tax thing. Maybe they should actually collect all of your income and then distribute it as they deem you need it. Or maybe they shouldn't distribute it at all. Maybe they should just supply you with food, shelter, healthcare, and whatever services they think you need. We could all drive roughly the same cars and live in roughly the same kind of accommodations. Then we'd eliminate hunger, poverty, and greed. In fact, the more that we take from people that have accomplished and have wealth, and we give to those that don't have, I think the happier everyone is going to be. Gosh, I'm surprised that no one's ever tried to do this before. This is a great idea, and I guarantee it's going to work this time. Theresa May, the embattled Prime Minister of the UK, has survived a vote to stay in power on the condition that she doesn't run again in the next election. Jeremy Corbyn, the opposition Labour Party leader, stated, "Tonight's vote changes nothing. Theresa May has lost her majority in Parliament, her government is in chaos, and she's unable to deliver a Brexit deal that works for the country and puts jobs in the economy first." To which May replied, "Oh yes, Jeremy, but do not forget about D's." "D's?" the Labour leader replied. "D's nuts across your motherfucking face." She then danced wildly in front of him and pretended to smack him in the face with large imaginary testicles. Corbyn had no choice but to retire from the conversation as he fell for the oldest parliamentary trick in the book. We may have embellished part of that last report. In President Trump news, Michael Cohen was sentenced to 3 years in prison for tax fraud, lying to Congress, and campaign finance violations. Judge William Pauley III was so blown away by Cohen's actions that he described it as a veritable smorgasbord of fraudulent conduct. Pauley went on to say that his conduct was so atrocious that regardless of his assistance with various investigations, the slate would not be wiped clean. Prior to sentencing, Cohen gave an emotional speech that said regardless of what happened, he would finally be free of the president and that his freedom was worth every penance he was about to pay. The judge, for his part, rolled his eyes and made a wanking motion throughout his diatribe. In more President Trump news, Dirty Michael Flynn got done dirty, but not illegally, by James Comey. Flynn claims he didn't realize he couldn't lie to the FBI, which sounds pretty dumb, if you're anybody. Really, just about anybody knows you can't lie to the FBI. At the same time, Comey admitted that during both the Obama and Bush administrations, any questioning associated with anybody in the executive branch would have to come with presidential approval and also have presidential counsel or executive counsel present. Before questioning Flynn, the records show that Comey stated something to the effect of, "These guys are too new to know any better, let's just send over 2 agents and see what happens." They also didn't warn Flynn that he would be perjuring himself if he lied to the FBI with the express intention of making sure he'd be more forthcoming. This doesn't in any way get Michael Flynn off the hook, but it does show that Comey is probably not the white knight good dude that he pretends to be on Twitter and in the media. But on the other hand, most of us have watched enough Law & Order not to fall for that basic bitch FBI shit. President Trump had a meeting this week with House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer to discuss the border wall. Trump surprised both of them when he called the press into the meeting. Pelosi immediately let it be known that she preferred that this meeting be held in private. Schumer just looked away, didn't make eye contact, and giggled like a schoolgirl. Mike Pence did nothing. Absolutely nothing. They had to actually check to see if he was alive a couple times. He was like Drax the Destroyer in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 when he tries to sneak up on everyone. Trump, for his part, said repeatedly that not only was he willing to shut down the government for the wall, but he would take full credit for doing so. Hardline Democrats felt Pelosi dominated the meeting. Hardline Republicans felt that Trump did. The rest of us just smashed our faces repeatedly into the hardest surface we could find and asked ourselves, how the hell did we end up with these people as our elected representatives? And with that, I'm Nick Palmisano, and this is the... Oh, I'm sorry, apparently we have some breaking news here. Let's see. President Trump is leaning towards replacing his Chief of Staff, General Kelly, with Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner. I'm sorry. I can't. I just fucking can't. I fucking can't.
And with that, I'm Matt Finney, and this was the Bad News Network. What's that sign up?
Our news is at least as bad as the news you're getting already. And baby, it's cold outside.